nation. Now, let me ask our Commercial Crew Program Manager, Ed Mango, to say a few words and give you a little bit more detail than I gave you. Ed?
Thank you, Mr. Bolden. First of all, I want to say thank you. My team and I are extremely excited and ready to go do this. We're ready to continue our partnership with industry and between industry and NASA in new and innovative ways. I am very confident in the ability and capability of our three partners under ICAP. I believe that we can make great progress with these three partners. What is ICAP? ICAP stands for Commercial Crew Integrated Capability. It is a capability that includes the spacecraft, the launch vehicle, the ground operations, as well as the flight operations. It's an entire mission cycle and doing the design work for that entire mission cycle. So we call it CC-ICAP for short. ICAP is also being run under a Space Act Agreement approach that NASA has been able to employ. And what that means to the taxpayer is NASA is not paying 100% of this development cost. We are sharing these costs through a partnership, through NASA and the individual partners. So they are also bringing money to the table. This is a way of leading, this is a way of allowing the United States to lead in the development of new space systems that are human capable, and then taking those systems for commercial purposes as well as for NASA purposes in the future. As Mr. Bolton said, there are three awards. The first is to Sierra Nevada Corporation. Sierra Nevada is going to be getting $212 million if they meet all their milestones. And under the SAA approach, milestones are paid once performance is done. So it's a paid-for-performance kind of approach. It's, again, very good for the taxpayers and very good for NASA. If they meet all the milestones, they can get up to $212.5 million. They've been a very strong partner under CCDEV-2, and they've been a partner during that period of time, in which they have completed their preliminary design review, and now they're working on their engineering test article, which is a test article of their Dream Chaser, full scale, they're going to use for approach and landing tests. We're very excited to continue our work with Sierra Nevada. Our second partner is SpaceX. SpaceX will be receiving $440 million as they complete their milestones throughout the base period of of ICAP. As you know, SpaceX is a very progressive partner. We like the way they think differently, and it's encouraging my team to think differently as we work with them. They too have been evolving through CCDEV-2. They take their design for cargo, which they flew just a couple months ago, and taking that to evolve it into a crewed capability. So they're working on their propulsion systems as well as working on their crew interface systems. And that has gone very well over the last year or so, and we want to continue to work with them very closely. The third partner is Boeing. Boeing will receive $460 million over the course of all the milestones if they meet them. They also are a very sound partner through CCDEV-2. During CCDEV-2, they completed a preliminary design review for their spacecraft and also completed a software review, preliminary design review, for their software. Again, a very hard challenge, and they met those challenges under CCDEV-2. They also are developing their propulsion system for their abort and their landing system when they land on the ground. All three of these were CCDEV-2 partners, and we look forward to working with them again in ICAP. You might ask, what does NASA bring to the table in this commercial partnership? Well, besides the taxpayer money that we will diligently manage, we also bring a team of engineers. We call it a partner integration team, or for short, a PIT crew. This particular PIT crew we have for each team. And this crew is made up of engineers, a lot from here, right here at the Kennedy Space Center, and also from the Johnson Space Center and many of the other NASA centers. They're NASA engineers. They're NASA safety engineers. They're NASA operations folks, both in the flight regime as well as in the ground regime. We put all these together in this PIT crew. They're going to work very closely with these partners. We bring our expertise, our 50 years of human spaceflight experience to the table, not to tell the partner what to do, but to tell them what we have learned over our 50 years and to help them in their design and help them in their risk management trade systems. My team is highly motivated to go do this, and you need a team that I was able to handpick so that these folks that are on these PIT crews can work in a very innovative way, can do things differently than what we've done in the past, and still try to make it as safe as possible and meet our requirements in the long run and meet the company's requirements in the short run. A bit later this morning, about 10:45 Eastern, there will be a teleconference in which we'll talk a little bit more about the details of the agreements and our partners at that time. You know, before I end, I'd like to take a step back and think about another time in history when the world changed. And that was back in 1927. In 1927, the only way to get across the Atlantic Ocean was through ocean liners. Charles Lindbergh took the courage to figure out a way to fly across the Atlantic Ocean nonstop. And that was, as many people call it, a Lindbergh moment, because it made the world smaller. It made the world capable of doing new and different and innovative things. And there's been many Lindbergh moments since that time. But today, the Commercial Crew Program and our industry partners are on the threshold of setting a new set of Lindbergh moments. Not just across the Atlantic, but actually to make the world smaller, the planet smaller, and to help commercial industry. Thank you. I think we'll now open it up for questions.
Good morning, James Dean from Florida Today. Possibly for Mr. Mango, just wondered if you could discuss a little bit more why this combination of three ultimately was selected in terms of it giving you a diversity of different types of spacecraft, a couple launch vehicles, of course. Also, how many proposals did you select from?
Let's see, NASA uses a very strict process for procurement. And so in that process, there's many proposals that come in that are evaluated. In this particular case, and you'll hear a lot more about this in the telecon, so you might want to, I encourage you to ask the question again. But the portfolio that was selected, as you said, is really all about diversity. Diversity of launch vehicles, diversity of spacecraft, and an ability to actually move through these milestones with high confidence that we can meet those milestones. That's how as a program, we don't make the selections, we implement the selections. When I look at this selection base, I look at it as a capability of diversity, and therefore we will not only have diversity in systems, but also redundancy and competition as we move forward.
Good morning. Julian Leake with America Space. This one's for Charlie, I believe. During the CC Dev 2, Blue Origin was awarded $22 million. Did they submit a program for CCIP?
Well, yeah, I'm going to let you ask that question in the next brief. And I will tell you, I was not privy to know how many companies submitted, who submitted, and I did not want to know. And I think, when you talk about the integrity of the process, I was briefed by Bill Gerstenmaier day before yesterday on what was going to happen. I knew what the process was because we had gone over that over and over and over. The Office of General Counsel, our procurement office, everybody was involved in this. So I don't know, whether they submitted or not, to be quite honest. I do know who the three winners were, so know that. Okay, but I would ask Bill Gerstenmaier that question. I think he can answer it.
Yes, sir. Chris Haber with Terra Sancta Press. Are you going to, is Sierra Nevada planning on using any KSC facilities?
I'm going to let Bob address it because he talks to people all the time.
Actually, we have a Space Act agreement with Sierra Nevada, and eventually they do plan to use our facilities. We're working with them on what will be when. Not too long ago, Sierra Nevada was here, and they had a jobs conference, if you will, and we're doing hiring from the excellent workforce that we have here at the Cape. So it's my great hope that, yes, in the future, if they move forward and ultimately are selected to fly a cruise to the International Space Station, they'll be doing operations here at the Cape.
And if I could follow that up, do you know about how many jobs are being created here in Florida by them, and if they're using any of the retired shuttle force?
I don't have that number.
Thank you.
Colonel Cabana, just asking a similar question a little bit more broadly. We're just over a year past the last shuttle flight. Could you just address, where KSC as a center stands now, and how these announcements might impact the local workforce and sort of the center's progression in its transition?
Absolutely, James. When I look back on where we were a year ago and where we are now, we have just made tremendous progress. I wish I could get everybody out to see all the changes that are happening here at the Kennedy Space Center. In a lot of areas, you can't even see them all. They're down in the bowels of the pad within the MCC. Launch Control Center, it's everywhere. And, you know, the team, I think we really have turned a corner. We're reaching stability, and we're looking to hire as we move forward. Having the Orion vehicle here in the ONC High Bay now being built for its first flight in 2014. I mean, this is the first time we've built human spacecraft here at the Kennedy Space Center in excellent partnership with the state of Florida. That's outstanding. The progress that has been made on the launch facilities out at the pad in the VAB, we're starting work there now. The transporter, crawler transporter number 2 is being totally refurbished to handle a heavier weight and to have another 20-year life on it, and the team's doing a great job there. It's just multiple projects like this, and I think getting to this next step in commercial crew, I mean, these two programs, I've said it before, I'll say it again, they're not mutually exclusive. They're extremely compatible, having a commercial capability along with NASA's exploration capability. This is our future, and we really do want to transform KSC into that 21st century launch complex of the future. We want to take what was science fiction and make it fact, and we're moving to make that happen.
I think possibly again for Mr. Mango, could you just explain a little bit the half award? Will that company accomplish half as much, or do they benefit from sharing a launch vehicle with one of the other competitors, or you know, what is the difference between a full and half award?
See, again, I would ask you to ask that question in the next briefing, because you'll see a lot more of the details. I guess my quick answer is no one has a full award or a half award. We negotiated with these partners how much work we can get done in 21 months that seemed reasonable to us and fit into an overall budget profile. So that's how we figured out the partnership as a portfolio.
Okay, there's no more questions. That concludes our briefing. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.